Welcome, golfers, to the 21st episode of the Read It, Roll It, Hole It podcast. Today we've got special guest Hannah Bowen on the call. Hi, Hannah.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited to have a chat.
Excellent. Yeah, look forward to finding out all about you today. You're a professional golfer down in South Wales, a PGA golf coach, or PGA pro. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. So I'm currently I'm based at a club called Garnan at the moment, where I do sort of majority of my coaching. So that's my main role currently. Although we are in COVID lockdown, so it is a little bit difficult at the moment. We're not currently out and about. If you can say anything, I'm unemployed at the moment. But so I'm a full-time coach. I do a little bits and bobs in the shop as well, and I do a lot with kids coaching, ladies coaching, trying to get women into the game. And I think the one level I really like at the moment, so I'm an inclusive coach, so I do a lot of inclusive sort of groups to get all kinds of people into the game. Anybody with any form of disabilities. I've done blind golf, I've done the Chinese Autistic Society. I've done quite a few different groups which have been they've tested my coaching, but they've all been fab. I mean, some of the best sort of experiences I've had teaching these different groups, so I'm really enjoying it at the moment. I'm enjoying it when we get back out and we get to coach again, so hopefully that's not too long, but we'll see.
Brilliant. That's great. The on the coaching side of the inclusive coaching, I've done a bit, and you said it sort of tested your skills. What can you expand on that? What sort of skills have you realized you needed to have?
Yeah, so I think like one of it is like you got to be more aware. So stuff like blind golf, there's certain things I didn't know or hadn't really. I had to put myself in their shoes, whereas I just do things as they come. I had to remember, well, that could be a potential safety hazard, or that could be. I had to really think and be on my toes a little bit. So if something didn't work, you were okay to sort of go back and say, well, that wasn't working. Shall we try this instead? So there were certain things that I didn't quite know already. So it really did test my golf in that respect. I did like a bunker session with those who are blind golf, and I genuinely just didn't realize the difference between sort of like the solid sort of grass ground and getting yourself into a bunker. So that was something I hadn't sort of done before, and I suppose I just step in and don't realize, whereas it was more to them. There was like, oh, it's a different feeling underfoot. There's a different kind of balance to it. So that really that made me think, oh, hang on, there's so much more to it. But they were fab, all of them. They were up for a laugh as well, which was great, because it made my teaching easier. So if I made a mistake, they were kind of laughing with it and making jokes. So they were fantastic. So I couldn't think of anything better. And then the Chinese Autistic Society, that was a hard one. So and we had kids between the ages of 4 to 12, about 40 of them, who obviously were a little bit crazy and wanted to sort of wander and check the place out, but at the same time didn't speak a lot of English. So that was a hard one, because it was a lot more demonstration, and that's something I'm not used to. So I don't really have to do as much demonstration with sort of pupils I currently have. Although it did prepare me for COVID, where you obviously can't go up and you can't sort of put someone into the correct sort of position, because you can't obviously touch them anymore. So it did prepare me for that, but I had to do a little bit more demonstration. There was less talking. So yeah, that was the kind of like challenges I had, but sort of things that I enjoyed and sort of overcame through them. So I really enjoyed that.
Brilliant. That's great. Very rewarding, I can imagine.
Oh, unbelievable. So I've always wanted to do inclusive coaching. My sister has got a few varied disabilities, and I always used to think, well, there's certain things she'll never be able to do. So that I have achieved, or I have been able to do, just like travel the world, stuff like that. So it's just nice to give back a little bit and give someone a bit of freedom for a couple of hours, where they can come and sort of enjoy a sport. And maybe that's something they never thought about trying, but it was good to get them all involved and to see them enjoy it. And I think that was the main thing. I think we forget this game becomes almost too serious, even in my sort of job when I'm playing, that kind of thing. It's overly serious. So it was nice to get back into that sort of like, it can be just simple and it can be just fun. So it was fab.
Brilliant. That's it's a key message, isn't it? Like, it is only a game. Like, we play it because it should be fun. And I think, as you say, people get too, like, pissed off with it sometimes, and like get so angry, and we're just gonna have fun, man. That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's kind of the philosophy of how I coach and try and play as well. So bit of fun, try and have fun with it.
I can see that. I can see that. So Hannah, let's talk a little bit about your sort of your career and your sort of job. So from what I can see, you obviously coach, as you just said, coaching is a big part. You play as well, and also
Yeah.
then you're like you do a lot in the corporate world, sort of like ambassadors for companies, charity work, bit of modeling. Yeah, to talk us through like those areas really.
Okay, so the playing side. So I coach to pay for the playing. I'll tell anybody that. That's how it works. You coach to make the money so that you can then spend it on your tournaments. So that's what I'm currently doing at the moment. I got really
Got you.
lucky about a year ago where I sort of like had a sponsorship deal, which meant I could play full time. Obviously, it hasn't gone to plan this year because of COVID. So COVID's hit. Haven't really been able to travel as much as I would have liked and kind of planned, but hopefully in the sort of well, not going to say new year, but mid-year next year, that we can get sort of playing again and traveling a little bit more safely, and then I can get out and sort of play a little bit more tour stuff. So I'm a member of the LET Access Tour, I'm a member of the Santander Tour, WPGA, and then the Justin Rose series, which has just sort of started. So I'm hoping that I've heard in the grapevines that it's going to come back next year, so I'm hoping to play a little bit more of that then when I can, and hopefully next year have a little bit it'd be a bit nicer, it'd be easier to sort of travel, because when we did it this year it was so difficult. We were sort of staying in our cars, we were sleeping on floors, so it was crazy.
No.
It wasn't like a normal sort of tournament scenario. So it'd be nice if when we do it this year we can, I don't know, have a bed, have have an actual sort of hotel room, and be a little bit more prepared. So traveling in and out of sort of Wales was a little bit difficult, and with COVID and that, you kind of you were worried, you didn't want to get out too much. So it'd be nice to sort of do that, but differently this year. So I'm excited to see how that goes.
Are you telling me you spent the night, slept in a car?
Yes. So that was me and my friend Nick. So she also did the Justin Rose series, and it was when it started up. It was at a time where you couldn't really have a hotel room. They weren't really selling any sort of hotel rooms to people to play, and we really wanted to play in these events. So yeah, we did do the sort of dangerous sleep in a car. We were lucky. It sounds worse than what it is. I mean, I don't have heated seats, but we we were able to sort of like make it a bit cozier, add a few pillows, shove on a duvet. It was the next best thing to a couch. It was fine. It did the trick for a while, and to be fair, it was the only the sort of we didn't think anything of it until we got there and had to do it, and then reality sort of struck. Christ, we're in a car in the middle of sort of nowhere. We don't even know this area. We're having to play a golf tournament tomorrow. This is going to be crazy. So it was fun. I did it with a friend, so I wasn't alone. But yeah, hopefully we don't have to actually do that ever again. But if I'm ever trying to save money, now I know I can do it. But my back was in half. I think we both sort of said, blinking heck. I thought we were younger than that we could cope with sleeping in a car, but I don't think anyone can. Is the honest.
Really?
I don't suggest it.
I love the dedication though. To obviously it was quite a long way away. Was it down in London or where was it?
It was further, yeah. So it was further. Oh God, I can't. So it wasn't London. It was. Oh, I'm going to say sort of. I'm going to say a bit further, maybe Kent. I can't remember where it is. I'm not even going to tell you the name of the club because some people may go, "Oh my gosh, does she not know where that is?" but I do the whole follow the sat nav, shove it on the sat nav. How far is it, and just go. So I'm used to sort of doing that. I'm not old school. I'm not a map reader. So I kind of just go on what the sat nav tells me. But we did a couple like that, and then any ones that were really close to my friend's house, so Nick's house, I went to hers and I sat on the floor essentially on like in like a sleeping bag. But it was so nice. She was amazing. She set me up and she helped me. So there was when England were out of lockdown, Wales obviously were still in lockdown, so we were still in sort of a rough patch. I wasn't working, I was unemployed, I wasn't earning any money, but I wanted to enter these tournaments. So she did me a solid, and she was letting me help her with sort of like junior camps and ladies camps, and that was fantastic. So it meant I earned a little bit of money on the side, as well as sort of being able to play, that kind of thing. So she was fab. Thank you, Nick, if you're ever watching this.
That's nice. That's good. And the Rose series was like a superb sort of new addition, wasn't it, to the ladies? You know, for the obviously the ladies who are on the European tour, but for like you guys who are inspiring to be there, you're like, you know, just the level below at the moment.
Yeah, we it was fab. They don't have, so we have WPGA, which has always been sort of like a big sort of version of like an English tour for us. And I've always said we should open it up to all girls. We should get everyone involved. We can make it a bigger thing, get more sponsors. But it's never been done. So it's kind of like a smaller version of the tour, even though it's huge to us who are in the PGA. So it was really nice that they sort of invented this sort of UK tour, which we don't currently have. So like another developmental tour at the same time as sort of like all the men have all these developmental tours to get them onto tours, so like Challenge Tour, Euro Pro, that kind of thing. And there's not a lot out there for women. It's kind of LET Access and that's it, or Santander and that's it. So it was nice to have an English one, so we could sort of go there. What was really cool as well was it wasn't just, it didn't feel developmental because it was so many big names go into these events. So we were almost doing the whole, oh my gosh, look who that is, that's Georgia Hall. And obviously we didn't say it out sort of loud to hear, but we did the whole, oh my gosh, look, it's Carly Booth. And we're doing the whole hi girls, sort of, because we're there and we're playing in the same tournament. But it was, I suppose we were in a way a little bit sort of starstruck as well, because we're not on a level yet where we're playing with these girls. So we don't see them every day, but we got an opportunity to, and I think it helped us a little bit. I think it helped us with our confidence, and it helped us build ourselves and go, actually, the standard, what the thought of what we thought the standard would be wasn't the standard it was. So we kind of took a step back and went, this isn't reachable. This isn't something. For years we've kind of gone, oh Christ, we've got so much that we have to do with sort of our own work that maybe you can't, you think, oh, with the money and everything, I won't reach there. But I think we all just kind of went, actually, we could do this. So it was good. It was good for our confidence, and hopefully they do it again this year, and we'll have a little bit of a ball and a bit of a nicer time.
Wonderful. That's good. Great experience for you, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. Who did you or was there like someone you played with that you learned something from, or you had a good chat with someone off the course? What bit of advice and from anyone?
It's very like I said about serious. There's very many girls that actually, how can I put it, have fun and just sort of enjoy being there. It's very serious. It's very competitive. It's very it's sometimes overly serious. Nobody talks to each other. You're kind of in your own bubble. You're playing your own game, even though you're playing with these people for 5-6 hours. So you didn't get to know many people. There was probably one girl, not probably two. So Katrina and Holly, both girls I played with actually on my first event, and I was really nervous on my first event. I turned up late. This is really weird because I actually stayed in the car park. But I turned up late basically. I ended up going out to go and get breakfast, and it just I got lost on the way back. Long story, and then I ended up being late. I didn't tell anyone I was actually staying there. I kind of just went with oh yeah, big drive from Wales. but yeah, the girls I met that day actually put me at ease. They were friendly, they were lovely, we had a chat, and I think they're girls I would probably be friends with for life. Like I've chatted to them afterwards, and they're just great girls. So that was a different scenario. From there afterwards, it was tough. It became really serious. I think the first one was nice because we all just kind of went into it thinking, just really nice to get out and play. And there was also that sort of moment where you kind of go, oh Christ, how am I going to play? They say that golf is like getting back on a bike. Well, I've never ridden a bike, so I don't know what that's like. And to top it all off, I think the guy's a liar, because it is not as simple as sort of like, let's just get back on it, let's just go and play. And when certain elements of the game are just not tight enough, they're not tight enough. You kind of just go, oh well. But everyone was in the same sort of boat. So it was really nice because everyone was a little bit, more friendly, and it was nice to see other people. We hadn't seen people for such a long time at that point. It was nice to sort of engage and be like, who are you? How, what sort of course do you play at? Where have you been? So that was probably the one event that sort of like sticks in my mind, and I learned stuff from it, as in sort of like I got to know that the other girls were also very nervous, and they also wanted to do well. So that kind of put me, like they gave me a bit of a nice sort of boost, if that made sense. I wasn't the only one, if that makes sense.
That's good. That's nice. You mentioned obviously that the gap wasn't as big perhaps as you thought it was, which is wonderful, but obviously there still is like a gap. So you mentioned, was it Katrina Matthews, is it?
No. Katrina Gillam, her name is, and Holly Calvert. So these were two girls I played with. So they're girls who play in sort of Elite Access and Elite Tour events. But obviously, but something that I've noticed is that there's a lot of really good girls that don't have a lot of recognition because their names maybe aren't as out there as some others. Yeah. So I think it's that, but the sport isn't as popular female wise. So you don't get to know as many sort of female names, which is a shame. But obviously, I got to know a few more. I got to see them. So in some aspects, it was just nice that I got to experience the sort of tour and got to speak to these other girls. So that was good.
That's good. The what was the like the difference from, I don't know if what is the difference from like breaking it down to, well, preparation maybe, but like, driving, short game, putting, course management? What did you...
It's mental game. I think that was the biggest thing. I don't care what anyone says. Everyone's got some form of ability and to get around the course, and we've all shot low scores in our sort of lives, rounds, even sort of as amateurs and stuff like that. For us, and I think the biggest hurdle, and I talked, so my friend again, Nick, who was there doing it with me, and she's PJ Pro as well, the biggest thing that we said was it's mental game. These girls are cool, calm and collected. We struggled with the intensity of how everyone was. We're used to go into an event and being able to be loud and have fun and chat and know everyone there, whereas this was so intense. Nobody wanted to know you. Everyone wanted to stay in their own bubbles. You were competition to them, and that was the hardest bit for us. We said mentality wise it became really tough. Like in our practice rounds, we were having great rounds, we were really enjoying the course, we were so relaxed. It came to the actual day and nobody's chatting to you and everybody's shaking on the tee, and it became that's the difference in level. It's just mentality. It's being able to put yourself in that like position all the time. If you're somebody that hasn't, then it's huge. It's massive. You can't, it's not something you just can learn and do it. It's, you're shaking, you're terrified, nobody will talk to you, so nobody's putting you at ease, you're on your own. Like there was a lot of the girls are more prepared than we were in terms of sort of having caddies or being able to definitely go and play practice rounds. Some of them were even going for a full 5 days beforehand, but obviously we have full-time jobs, so we can't up and go and have 5 days rounds of golf. How lovely does that sound? But it's just not feasible because we don't have the money to do that, and we don't have the caddies, we don't have people who are on our bags that know us really well. We kind of just wing it. So we either do it alone, or we get a random member from the course or a beginner that is just sort of there because they've given up some time to help us. It's that kind of prep, it's that kind of support that you have backing you. I think it's a lot easier when that the money maybe doesn't matter. I do think that helps, whereas if you've just spent a couple of £100 on a tournament, you're not getting that back if you're not playing well, and unless you are top 1, 2, 3, you're not getting it back. Simple. So we said mentality, mindset was huge. That was the biggest difference between us and these girls on the top level. They didn't almost care. They were serious, but it wasn't about the money, it was about winning. It was a different sort of level, whereas we were really worried, we were really embarrassed, there was those kind of feelings. We were almost didn't quite fit in, if that made sense, in our heads, even though we were there. We've done it, we've played golf, we've been PJ Pros for 6-7 years, yet it was that side that was probably the hardest hurdle.
It's thank you for sharing. Very honest of you. It's which is good for the listeners. Like you talk about shaking, first tee, nerves. We all get them, right? I think, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you should get them because it means you care. What advice would you give to the listeners to help them deal with that and manage with that in the first couple of holes, maybe, or the first tee shot especially?
I don't think I'm the best person to give this advice because I'm still struggling with it today. I'm not going to lie, I'm still getting on the tee and I'm feeling incredibly nervous, and it's sometimes hard to shake it. And if you have maybe 1, 2, 3 bad holes in a row, or holes you're not, you know, you're a bit shaky on, it does knock your confidence, and it is hard to come up and come out of that. I'd say more than anything, put yourself in the position where you're playing. Something that maybe helped me, so I played 1 or 2 LET access events, and it did, after playing the Justin Rose series, even though it didn't completely, like, my nerves are still there, it did get me through sort of like the next round, if that made sense. Just sort of going, oh, I did this yesterday. Oh, this is fine. I did this yesterday. You know, I know how this feels. So you do have to put yourself in that position quite often. Play rounds where you would normally say that there's nothing on it, put something on it. You don't have to put money on it, but say you're playing with a partner, or you're playing with somebody who lives in the same household as you, which is the sort of thing at the moment, because if you're in certain tiers, you can either not play, or you can only play with somebody from the same household. Put dishes on it. Say like, okay, so if I win this or I do this, put dishes on it. Something that keep playing competitively, even if you're somebody who's decided to do the PGA and decided to go that route and have a backup plan. Keep playing competitively. I think the hardest bit for me was going from amateur playing all the time, loving the game, being really competitive, to being a pro, doing my 3 years of training, hardly ever playing, then working, coaching, and then when I did go and play, completely freaking out and being terrified because I haven't played for such a long time, and didn't have the practice, and I wasn't prepared. So I'd say just keep active, keep going, just mindset as well. Something that I think helps me is if I am enjoying. So something that I needed to do, and it sounds awful, I hate it when people know I'm in an event, and I know it happens, word gets out, people kind of know where you're going, but my best events are ones which I've been really quiet about, and nobody's sort of known I'm there, and it could be a really big deal, but I'm like, nobody knows I'm here. Great, there's no pressure. I'm kind of just playing for myself. I think we forget that we are just playing for ourselves, and it is just a game. It becomes this big, giant, oh my gosh, this is a huge responsibility, and I'm doing this for my parents, and I'm doing this for my friends, and I'm doing this for my sponsor, and I'm doing, like, there will be a lot of external sort of impacts. But yeah, just do it for yourself. And I think Tiger used to say that as well. When he was doing it for his dad, he didn't end up sort of winning it. You know, when he was doing it for himself, when he was trying to win for himself, he would play the best kind of golf because he'd be doing it for him and no one else. There's less pressure. We're all good at doing something for someone else, but we, you know, doing it for yourself, just whether you succeed or fail, it's for you. It doesn't matter. So I'd say that.
That's good. Great advice. Have you like sought advice on the sort of mental side? Are you working with a psychologist, sports psychologist, or performance coach, or anything along those lines?
Do you know how expensive that is?
Yes,
No,
I do.
yeah. I have seen different people, and I've got little bits of advice. I saw a guy called Andy, he was fab. Everyone's been giving me stuff that can help, but I'll be honest, doing that side of it when you're not on the course, that kind of thing, it is great, but it's almost transferring it then onto the course that becomes the difficulty. So there's no one who can do that apart from myself, so I have to learn to do it that way. If anyone is listening and they are specializing in sort of mental sort of health when it comes to sort of golf or sport, I am willing to work with you as long as it's free. So please contact me. No, I think we all need that kind of support and help, but it's just not there, and it's not free for us. So it's hard for us to tap into it and get that support even in every day. It's not necessarily free. So it would be nice to work on that part of the game, but at the moment it's just, I want to spend all my money trying to play, so it's very hard for me to then put it in towards coaching and towards sort of improvement that side. I think it's just little bits that I can do bit by bit.
For sure. There's lots of good stuff out there, like you for free though, isn't there? Like books and podcasts and stuff.
100%. So you don't even necessarily need someone, but I do know obviously the higher the level, the more the chances are they have someone who is doing that sort of thing and is helping them. So
yeah. Oh, it's yeah, as you say, it's yeah, it's something a lot. All the top guys and girls have got, you know, someone working with them, but they pay them the big bucks, right?
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So no, that's cool. Okay, that's good. That's good. Good insight into your game. Thank you. That's great. Let's go down. Let's talk about the corporate side, so the sort of modeling and the ambassadors and the charity work and Beat the Pros, etc.
Yeah, so I do a lot of Beat the Pros. Obviously, we haven't done, unfortunately, this year as curbed our sort of corporate events. Any sort of Beat the Pro stuff I've done just purely because we can't get out. We haven't been able to sort of play, and events have just been cancelled just because it's unpredictable. You don't know whether we're going to be in lockdown again. So unfortunately, that's kind of taken a step back. But I do know it's going to be an awful flow next year, and we've got a few events that we've planned abroad. We've got a lot of stuff in sort of the woodwork, and a lot of that is like sort of charity events. I love Beat the Pros, so it's really fun because you get to sort of have banter with people, stand on a tee. You kind of you get to sort of show your fun side. Like I said, I think golf's too serious, so I do like to add elements of it where we kind of go a bit nuts and we go a bit crazy. I'm a Welsh girl, so I like to do a little bit of Welsh dancing on the tee with my group. So it's quite nice. You get a bit of everything. So I love that side of it.
What's Welsh dancing? Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, Welsh dancing. It's like folk dancing. So I think there's a lot of sort of like folk. So I think of like Irish jig, and Scotland has a little bit of a dance, but Welsh dancing is like folk dancing. But there's a bit of like interlocking arms, that kind of thing. So it's very sort of just old-fashioned sort of folk dancing. I can't even explain it. I'd have to show, but I don't have the sort of space to show right now. You'll have to come to one of my events so you can see the Welsh dancing. So yeah, it's good. It's good fun. It's a laugh. It should be. I think we take it too seriously. Golf's become too serious. It's just nice to let loose and have a bit of fun, and especially when they're like everyone's an amateur playing there. There's no real big bucks on it. It's just tournament. It's just like a little sort of tournament, and we're trying to raise money for charity. So let's enjoy it. Let's have fun with it. Let's, you know, show that there's a different side to golf. Get more people involved. Then we might actually get more people wanting to take part, wanting to join the sport. How fantastic would that be? So that's kind of the area I do.
Brilliant. That's great. Very good. And the sort of the ambassador roles and the charities.
Yeah, so that's fab. I love that work, and I've just signed with a charity called Gloves Are On. They are fantastic. So we're working towards mental health and body positivity at the moment. But what I love about this charity is that it's a charity that doesn't discriminate. So like we said, it's a charity that raises money and raises awareness for loads of different charities. We go on what's popular and what's sort of happening and what's current. So if there's something or a charity that needs our help and needs money towards it, if they sent us a letter and said, look, we need this money because XYZ, as long as they've got a good reason for it, we will help and support that, and we will try and get that message out. So that's what I love about Gloves Are On. And Saraya, the woman who's in charge, she is literally an inspiration. She's been through so much in her life, and she's done so much to help other people. So she's absolutely fantastic. So I'm really excited for all the stuff we've got planned for next year. And it's just, I think mental health is really huge at the moment with us being in constant lockdowns. And we're in a lockdown and we're coming up to January, and everyone knows the January blues are huge. Everyone has them. So it would just be really nice to sort of keep going with this sort of charity and like I said, body positivity as well. We're very quick to judge others, and we've all heard of like trolls on the internet and people who can say really nasty, mean things about people's appearance. Well, that's not nice, and it doesn't help with our current sort of COVID situation. When you're cooped up in the house and all you can have and do is think about the stuff that people have said to you, it can really, really, really hurt. So we're trying to do our best to sort of like help and sort of let people know that we all understand, we've all been through it, and you're not going to feel that low forever. So hope we've got loads lined up, so I'm crossing my fingers that we get to do it next year. COVID dependent, obviously, but we hope.
No, I did my research and looked at that the gloves are on charity, and it looks fabulous. And certainly someone, you know, I'll start following now and recommend the listeners. It looks a great charity, and long may it continue. As you say, like we all need help. We're all vulnerable at some stage, and it's okay to not be okay. You know, it's something I say quite often, but I think it's okay to not be okay all the time.
100%. And so it's actually, she's won an award. So the lady in charge of the charity just won. So Soraya, she just won Hello's Star Mum of the Year. So with Hello magazine. So we're hoping that gives a bit more exposure to the charity, gets it out a little bit more. But it just shows the amazing things that she does, and loads of other sort of people in charity work do to sort of put other people first. And it's just nice that they get the recognition. So like I said, watch this space. We've got loads planned for next year, so hopefully that all goes ahead. But we'll continue doing the work that we do, whether we have to do it socially distanced or whether we have to do it out in the cold with a mask on our face. We're going to continue the work regardless. So yeah, excited for that.
Brilliant. Can you share with us, like, lots planned? Can you tell us what might sort of be coming?
There's so we're trying to do like one or two events. So I'm trying to do a few golf charity events with them to raise money for the charity. We have got stuff in the woodwork with different sort of celebrities who might be coming on board with the charity. We have got plans, sort of like like a calendar. So we do work with like body positivity. So there's one or two plans when it comes to sort of a calendar. It's all stuff that's going to help us raise more money for the charity and get more people aware of the charity. So that's the kind of stuff we're going into. We want to do more sort of talks. We're looking to do a lot more sort of Instagram lives and talks. So like you said, it's okay not to be okay. So we want to do a lot more of those sort of talks where we're honest and we kind of go, do you know what? I've had a really, really crap week. And this is why. And just being able to sort of reach out and talk to people and almost be like an agony aunt as well and have them chat to us and ask for advice. Obviously, you can give advice only to sort of like try and help. It's never going to be perfect every time, but sometimes it's just nice to chat to someone and have somebody listen or have someone else's point of view on a subject that you've been, that's been niggling you inside, or someone else that you don't know saying, I know exactly how you feel. I've been through that too, so that you don't feel alone. You don't feel like you're the only person out there that's got those feelings or been in that situation. So there's loads sort of on the, I can't say too much because obviously we've got to get stuff signed and sort of planned. But yeah, little bits like that. So just watch the space.
It's exciting. That's good. Well, any help with the golf charity day, I'm more than happy to help and donate some putting lessons. So
that would be fantastic.
A start.
We've all heard it now, so when I come and ask for the donations,
two hour putting lessons on the way for you, no problem.
Fantastic. And anybody else who wants to help or has anything to donate, please contact the charity itself and Soraya, who runs the charity. We are always looking for people to sort of donate and help. And if anyone's got ideas, so we worked with Gregor the Golf Ball, which is like a book that I've sort of just done a bit of endorsement with. And they've actually agreed to give £1 of every sale that they do to the charity, which is just fantastic. So little bits like that, if anyone can help, that'd be fab.
Brilliant. What book was that? Sorry.
Gregor the Golf Ball. So I don't know if you've seen it on Instagram. It's a kid's child's book. I've actually got one. I wish I had it on me now so you could see it, but I've actually got one. If I get up, I'll be ages gone. But I've actually got one. Gregor the Golf Ball. So if anyone wants to follow their Instagram page, you can see more. I've been trying to get people to. They're really good. They're like they can be like stocking fillers, and they're for sort of like the ages of 6 to about 9. So okay. Juniors would absolutely love them. They're great. And I know he's got more books coming up next year. So again, watch this space for that. I know he's got some stuff in the woodwork.
Like it. Gregor the Golf Ball.
Yes.
Got you. Okay, that's cool. All right, Hannah, just to finish off, I'm intrigued. Like the amount of love and help you want to give to everyone, from beginner golfers, junior golfers, to charities, to the game itself, like making it more fun. You know, I love the difference you bring. You know, you see you on a golf course, you definitely don't look like most lady members. I don't mean that being rude, but that's just
no, yeah.
like it, you know, it's brilliant to see. Where does this passion, why do you do it? What's your why?
Do you know what? I love golf. I think that's really corny to say that, but I do. I love golf, and I love the fact that anyone can play it, and you can play it with anyone. So you don't have to have somebody who is off sort of 2 can play with somebody who's off 36. That's what the handicap system's there for. And this isn't a sport. When I started playing golf, I was not great, I'll be honest, to anyone, but it's a sport that you can learn. And that's what's fantastic about it. It's not something you have to be naturally gifted at. You can either throw or catch, but no, golf, if you put the effort and time into it, it's self-paced, it's self-timed, you can learn it. And I think that's fantastic. It's transferable into everyone's lives. It's transferable, no matter whether you're old, young. There's different ways you can sort of play it. There's different things you can do which can help you play it. So anyone can do it, and that's what I love. And do you know what? I want to help people, because I suppose I want to know that if anything, if anything, sort of, if I needed any help, that I know that people would be there to help me. So I do believe in, like, one good act of kindness sort of sparks another. So I think that if you're willing to give and help, there's loads of different people who are all sorts of willing to give and help, and it's lovely, and it gives you some sort of warm feeling to just know that you've helped someone that day, or that you've made someone's day just by, do you know what, something that I used to love. So when I used to work in the pro shop in Swansea Bay, I used to love it there, to have a great boss, but just giving someone a smile. So just giving someone a smile in the morning when they come in, before they're about to do the tee off time or whatever it is, actually sets them up for the day. Just smiling at someone and going, how are you today? Asking them a simple question like that is so effective. And I think that we can do that. And socially in golf, we meet so many different people. How great are the social skills that we build while playing? I've met people from all different continents. Like, it's incredible. And it's people you would never ever meet in your life, or say, oh, I'm going to go for a drink with them, because you wouldn't. But after playing around with them, you go, yeah, I'd have a drink with them. I really enjoyed their company. I'd love to meet them again. So it's transferable. It's something that everyone can do, and I just love it. How I can't explain any.
I think your passion, Hannah, is sort of second to none, and you can see that from a million miles away. So, long may that continue, and thank you for everything you do. Just lost you there. Oh, you're back.
Oh, I'm like, oh, sorry. I'm literally just.
You're back. You're gone.
Fine. I think my signal went.
That's no problem at all. You still there now? Hello, Hannah. Hello.
Can you hear? Can you see? Oh, it's gone again.
I can hear you. I can hear you now.
You can hear me? I'm back.
Okay. Yeah, I can't see, but I can hear you. You're back.
All good.
No, that was great. Yeah, that was great. So yeah, that's fine. I'll cut it out there, that bit. So that's no problem on the podcast anyway. And then the YouTube, I don't know, just leave it as it is. It'd be
just
all right,
leave it. It happens. Everyone has technical difficulties.
That's life.
This was mine. Unfortunately, my whole life's a technical difficulties. So it's all good.
Just to finish, before we come on air, I said, what do you want to talk about? And you said, well, I'm very good at giving dating advice. So, like, can you come on, give some of these singletons who over Christmas and New Year are a little bit sad. What advice can you give them to find the love of their life?
Do you know what? I say I'm good at dating advice. I'm actually more good at giving funny dating stories. So I've had lots of really bad things happen on dates that kind of go. I would just like a normal one, but I just think if just more than anything, don't settle. I think my biggest dating advice is don't settle for something that's not right. Go for something that's fantastic. You live once, so why not have something that's amazing instead of something that's, you know, it's all right. Don't just settle because we're in COVID. It's not good. I say it to all my girls, don't settle. If he's not right, he's not right. You should have that warm, gooey feeling and want to see him all the time or see her all the time. So if you don't feel that, get out before it's too late.
Brilliant. Great bit of advice to finish. Well, Hannah, like, it's been a pleasure talking to you. You know, your passion, your enthusiasm, it is wonderful to see. And, you know, thank you for everything you do to our industry, and long may it continue.
Thank you for recognizing it as well. I think the best thing is, I think people forget, being PJ pros, that we do a lot for women, getting girls into the game, getting other people into the game, but it's not recognized enough because we aren't shouting about it, and because we're not maybe showing it off our social media, because we're actually out there doing it, it doesn't get recognized. Whereas there's like other sort of influencers and people who are, I know there's many out there, like Jazzy Golfer, Mia Baker, they do a fantastic job at what they do by showing beginners. But we are doing that. I know a couple of them have said there's nothing out there for beginner ladies, there's nothing out there for beginner girls, but we are out there doing it as PJ pros. That is what we do. We get women into the game, we get girls into the game, we promote golf. So they say there's nothing out there, but I completely disagree. We just don't shout about it. We just don't get it out there. So I think there was something that was amazing. So one of the girls, Nick, again, I mentioned her quite a lot. She said something in a meeting to like her ladies, because the ladies said something along the lines of, you know, you're not getting paid for this. You know, what are you doing this? She said, look, if one person turns up or 20 people turn up to this coaching session, I'm going to convince, I don't care about how much money I'm making. I am trying to get that woman into play. And if she's committed to be there, whether she only pays a £5 and I've done an hour session for a £5, it doesn't bother me. I'm not doing it for the money. We do a lot of things which are volunteer wise, or that we put in. I mean, I'm doing an academy now with my local club, like a junior academy. I'm not getting paid for it. We're going to charge money, but we're going to charge money that's all going to be funded to our junior section, so that we can then pay for equipment and we can do sort of different sort of day trips and stuff like that, so that we're not just a golf club, that we are more like a community. There's lots that we do that just doesn't get put out there and doesn't get shown, because we're not constantly sharing it. I think sometimes we're embarrassed to almost share it because it's our job, it's what we do. But I'd say, yeah, we're doing loads. We're doing absolute loads. So don't worry, it's out there. We've got it. And if you're going to join a lady sort of group, you know, have a little research. There's plenty of them out there. There's plenty of sort of new to golf. I think England do like girls golf rocks, stuff like that. I don't know their exact names of theirs, but in Wales it's new to golf. There's plenty of stuff out there for people to get involved and get into the game. It's just about taking a little look, having a little Google and finding them. So they are there, I promise.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Thanks so much for your time, Hannah, and you have a great Christmas and New Year.
You too. I hope everyone has a great Christmas and a New Year, and cross fingers that we'll be out of lockdown sooner than we think. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thanks, Hannah. Cheers.
Bye bye.